day 1 is officially over, so let's make an update/announcement video, because I suspect most of you weren't even aware that I was playing PoE this league, so here we are. But first things first, welcome back. The name is Wolf, this is the Wolf's Garage channel, and in 3.27, I've decided to start with Holy Relic Necromancer. So yes, I'm playing a witch, but it's not a witch with a wand. I know, heresy, but here we are. So it's only apt we play a Necromancer if we're talking about heresy. This is going to be a bit of a yap video. I don't have a current POB for you because this is not one of my creations. I will post the guide I am following myself, which I've played before, which is the Holy Relic version by Balormages. I can vouch for it. I have played it before. I have also known that it's probably one of the better guides out there for Holy Relic, because I was looking at other interpretations of it, and they all seem to have certain issues that I don't necessarily like as my personal preference. But yes, I am planning to convert this particular build into a different version of Holy Relic later that may or may not use specters. And as such, if I am going off the beaten path, I will give you guys POBs and alterations. Because I'm also thinking about maybe some Mind Over Matter tech, Eldritch Battery, maybe some kind of Chaos Inoculation version, especially with the new arms. There's some fun stuff, because as you can see on the gameplay, you can sometimes see my my arms protecting me, which actually works based on consuming life, which if we don't go Chaos Inoculation, but Mind Over Matter, can then lead to some possible nice defensive buffering. But I don't know, I'm just spitballing here. There's a lot to think about, but yes, the actual League Starter version I would recommend highly by Balormages. I will put a link in the description box below if you are looking forward to a build that is not necessarily the meta. But the good thing about it is, though, if you do like the meta builds, but you don't want to deal with the costs, you can play this build, farm up enough currency, and then actually progress later into a build that is the Witch, because we are already playing a Witch, right? So you don't have to re-level, you can just convert your character with regrets or gold and go from there, which is very, very comfy. So who knows what the future holds. However, it's been an incredible smooth experience. Not a lot of lag issues, a little bit of here and there. I had one disconnect the entire league start so far. I'm not sure how you guys have been faring. I've heard some horror stories about long loading times and people having to delete client files or resetting caches. Luckily enough, this league has been pretty smooth for me. Other than that, the new mechanic has been quite extraordinarily powerful in a weird way. It's like, it kind of reminds me of Cemetery, but better and easier and more fun. I've been getting an early 6 link out of it, lots of currency. Got a couple of blueprints for that later in the video as well. So for now, I'm still leveling, still progressing, and trying to come up with a fun currency strat, not necessarily mindless juicing, as some people preferred with magic finding. I don't like that. So who knows what the future brings. I'll keep you guys posted. Join the Discord, hit the like button, and let's get into the nitty-gritty of my current progression on day 1. Before we dive into my current level of progression, now that I am fully converted from SRS into Holy Relic, allow me to take a second to just appreciate the asynchronous trait with the new Faustus shop. It is so good. I did not experience it in PoE 2, because I haven't played since that patch, at least PoE 2 I haven't. But my goodness, it has been such a smooth trade experience compared to what we are used to. It has made the game so much better for me, because one of my biggest grievances was the trade system, and it's been just so good. I've also been able to smooth out my map progression, because I can sell maps I no longer need, or no longer need to orb either, for just an elk or two, and use those elks to buy other maps or make other maps, and it has been just incredibly smooth. I enjoy being able to finish one tier before I move on to the next, and as you can see, all my tiers are done, where normally there would be holes in there, because you would not be able to just find every single map before you have to move on, right? It's been so good. I'm currently working on tier 7, almost done, as you can see. So I'm about to buy one of those and start running. But it's been so good. My goodness, it is the best thing they could have added. It makes the game so much better. However, what could be better right now is probably my gear. I do have some solid pieces. I was able to pick up a pretty early 6 link with a new tree, which has been crazy. With the right setup, you can pump out 6 links, which has been really, really useful, which is why they're so cheap as well. I got myself a pretty decently rolled Geoffrey's Crest, which has been nice. I did craft this weapon myself. As you can see, it's really just attack speed, minion damage, and the craft. That's all we really have on a 1.6 weapon. Very important. I still have most of my gear that I found very early or very late in the campaign. I just haven't had the time or haven't felt the inclination to really switch yet. But yeah, it's mostly just poor resistance and poor life. As you can see, maybe a little bit of attributes. I definitely need to upgrade that. My goodness, that's embarrassing. But yeah, it's mostly life and res gear. It's very day one. I just got out of the campaign. I haven't even put corrupted blood on my divine life flasks. I am using an enduring flask that smooths out some of my mana since I still have to do that. But yes, my gear is very simple. As you can see, we are running the Despair, Desecrate, Bone Offering, Frost Bomb, which is not needed, but just in case you find somebody with like a lot of life regen, it's very, very nice. Arctic Armor, Tempest Shield, Flesh and Stone. You can also drop Arctic Armor and Flesh and Stone and just run Purity of Elements if you feel more comfortable with that. But a reminder, Arctic Armor also makes you immune to freeze, so that's okay. Although you might be able to pick that up for the Pantheon as well, so I'm not entirely sure how I feel about that. I prefer Purity of Elements, but I'm following the guide, as I said, to make sure I don't make any mistakes before I swap to my own version. I do have faster attacks here with Frost Blink and Shield Charge. Some people prefer Flame Dash. I personally prefer Frost Blink. I just think it's a better aesthetic. And Flame Dash always frustrates me when I press it too fast twice in a row. I get stun locked in that. Lancing Steel of Spraying, picked it up for 14C at the time. Could not find it in lab myself, did not get lucky. Withering Touch, life gain on hit, returning projectile. Remember though, this is not oftentimes mentioned everywhere, but we don't actually need to level Lancing Steel. We're not doing damage with it. There's no real benefit to leveling it. The extra projectiles come from quality after all. So if you keep it low, you are slightly more inoculated against any potential reflections, right? It's not really a big deal because we're not scaling any damage that affects us because we're scaling minion damage. So it's not really going to be a big bother if you do. But if you keep it low, it's just more convenient. It's a little less stress. Same thing with the reason as to why we are keeping, Desecrate low. Because we don't do damage with it, and it spawns enough corpses at 5, and it also keeps the mana low. Which is just very, very nice. Because we don't have that big of a mana pool, and since we still rely on Enduring Flask, any little bit will help until we get the jewel that I have to craft still, or at least find a good one for mana on hit. Here we have some tech that I'm also not entirely convinced about. Herald of Purity, Culling Strike, that one is fine. With Feeding Frenzy, that's perfectly okay. The Summon Phantasm is really not that good. On top of the Herald of Purity. At least I do not see Summon Phantasms spawning all the time. So this is really just a Herald of Purity Culling Strike automation, which is perfectly fine. There's nothing wrong with that, but you can just run the Summon Phantasm off it, which will also give you a bit more mana. And it's not going to be that much of a detriment, because after all, Herald of Purity would have to spawn the Phantasm, and for that to happen, Herald of Purity would have to do certain conditions, like existing first and foremost, which is already conditional, and then summon the Phantasm is also conditional. So you can just cut this if you don't have enough mana, maybe run a Clarity. I'm actually thinking about doing that myself, just before until I have the gem and go from there. Other than that, in terms of jewels, let's see, I already mentioned those. Yeah, I do have my, my Holy Relic of Conviction with quality. We're using added chaos damage, unbound ailments, minion damage support, void manipulation, chance to poison. I still have to run chance with poison. I don't have any jewels yet to push this even to 100, let alone have enough to drop it. Because that's going to require the unique belt as well, right? Anyway, like I said, it's very, very day one, but it's running very smoothly, even on gear that is essentially just garbage tier, right? My current spec is as follows. As you can see, I spec'd into Mindless Aggression, followed up with Unnatural Strength in preparation for the swap. Bone Barrier, very good for tankiness as well. The Holy Relics, even with Bone Barrier, are very squishy until you level them, so don't be worried. They do get a lot tankier. Speaking of tankier, I pick up some value notes here on the right. I did pick up Disciple and Training. We have the sacrifice and the minion attack and cast speed, minion defense, minion offense for the cooldown reduction, which is a new node, I believe. Then we also have minion offense mastery right here for the increased area of effect, which is just a little bit more coverage. I am using the 30% to maximum life because my current chest has a life modifier. Otherwise, I would have been able to use the 15% increased max life. Keep an eye on that. Some block. I need to round that wheel off as well. More life. Skills cost life as well, just to help with the mana cost. More block nodes, more cost reduction, more life. I'm using a very basic cluster jewel that I picked up for 2 or 3C. Tried to craft it myself, got chaos res. I figured, what the hell, it's okay, it's good enough. Yeah, I'm still dealing with attributes issues as well. I'm going to pick up nomadic teachings since I have an excess of resistances. I'm not using Alira either. I'm just using kill all bandits at the moment. So I'll just pick this one up until we have some jewels so I can start picking up the jewel sockets, maybe some endurance charges. I'm also thinking about that because we have picked up the inexorable and inexorable for the endurance charges, of course. Mana mastery for the increased reservation. I still feel it's kind of weird that the mana reservation does not apply to the reservation mastery, but I suppose that's done on purpose. A little bit of crit reduction is really nice. More blocks, and then of course more life. It's very survival, very getting your defensive layers in order, and then most of the damage will come from the jewels and the cluster. I am going to be picking up Mistress of Sacrifice next. I have no intentions of messing around with bloodlines per se. At least not in the early stages, because they are going to be very difficult to justify, I find, until we have some really, really good gear. But that's my current progression on my tree here. In terms of my Atlas tree, it's very basic. I picked up the map sustain, picked up some Keurig missions, and I'm working on strong boxes. That's what I'm working up here right now. I might pick up shrines next. That's always nice. Some borrowed power to help push into tier 16s. Maybe pick up an early tier 17. Get that map unlock. I don't really have any idea as to what I'm going to do. I was surprised that Breach was removed, because it's the league mechanic, of course. And Beyond was moved to the right, so that might be some interesting stuff. A few scarabs got changed, so maybe there's some tech here we can exploit, but otherwise I have no current plans. I'm kind of looking at what's going to stand out. What is standing out, of course, is the tree, in case anybody wants to see that. Because I have been pushing out a lot of tier 6 and definitely tier 5 links as well. This is my current tree. I'm not entirely sure if I want to spend more points in the currency womb, because everything else just seems like it would hurt the potential for good currency, because I don't care about dropping gold here. I want divines and chaos, right? So Wild Growth, I wonder if it might be funny to have reflexive contractions and then combine that with Wild Growth. I mean, I have the points. I wonder what the tech here is, because the rest seems kind of painful or reductive to your actual currency. This is just like the unique tree. I haven't really got anything good out of it yet. Not even sure if you can get anything good out of it, because I believe the data miner said that Mage Blood can't drop from it, so that's interesting. Also, but yeah, as we can see right here, if you want to drop 6 links, aside from like having to farm them, you want to be able to make sure to get the most amount of double equipment chances, obviously, but you also have access to Arterial Mesh, which is 150 times reroll, as you can see. And then also you want to make sure that you force body equipment. So once you have body equipment and then the 150, you have a pretty decent chance to always get a 5 link of a body. And then also you can just start pumping the actual additional drops. Let's see if there's a couple. Yeah, here, the 50% here. And then you have 50% right there. And there's a couple of those type of modifiers. Additional 50% right here, where you can drop multiples. So then you have multiple items dropping out of one pool that are being rolled 150 times. You can also get some random quality on it, which means random quality, I believe, can actually go above 20. Don't quote me on that. And then you can specify what kind of gear you want, or what kind of modifiers you are trying to avoid. Now, we don't use physical modifiers. I'm trying to avoid those to get better life modifiers, better res and such. But other than that, I am going to be moving away from the body armor soon because I am ultimately going to be using a unique body armor. And then I will be switching to maybe getting some booties so I can get some better movement speeds. Or, I could use maybe a better weapon as well. So maybe I should have to switch the weapons. Actually, no. Because we can actually craft the when I work on a multi-mod the weapon. We're actually going to be switching to... Oh, the jewels. Of course, the jewels. The jewelry. Oh my god, my jewelry is bad. I need to definitely find like a bone ring or something. That's going to make me feel a lot happier. But yes, it's been fun so far. I really like the trade system is making me excited. The tree has been quite fun. Speaking of tree, we also have the Heart of Flame, which I'm using right here. Simply because as you can see, we can activate it ourselves because we're consuming our life. So it's a giant health pool that gets added to our already considerable size in our mediocre gear, which is very nice. And then the second arm is going to be the stun. I haven't seen any other ones that I really like that would really fit, but I haven't seen a lot of them yet. I know that much. I've seen other people play with ones I've never even seen before. But right now, I'm basically just tanking and fisting. So I can take a pounding, I can deal the pounding. You know what I mean? It's very good. It's been very reliable. It has been helping out against tough elites. It has been helping out in some sketchy situations. Because after all, you know, we are not super tanky yet. No life on block yet. But we'll get there. So hopefully your league start has been going okay. Mine has been doing pretty well. It's been pretty smooth, barring the occasional stutter. We had like one disconnect. No crashes though. Very, very good. So I've heard some horror stories about people having massive loading times and such. Looks like we were lucky this time. Unlike other leagues where we crash the desktop all the time. But yes, I'm going to go back to gaming. So thank you so much for hanging out. Keep an eye out. Once I will switch to my own version, I will start posting POBs and such. Otherwise, it is pretty much Balor's build, obviously. That's the template. I think he has one of the best templates out there. I said it before. So when it comes out to Holy Relic, I don't see why I would try to change anything there in the beginning stages. But other than that, keep you guys posted. Thank you so much for watching. Have a good night. Take care. And keep on gaming. I'm out.